Today, I would like to share with you how gentle rhythms help me organize my day, week, and month, and how they help my family. If you're new here, my name is Kelly Joe, and I am a mom to 7 kids, ages 15 to 1, and I've been married to my college sweetheart for 21 years. I love sharing health and wellness encouragement for everyday moms. I specifically love talking about routines and how helpful they can be. Routines for fitness, nutrition, and homemaking. Today I'm going to give you a peek into what a typical day is like for us here. I've found over the years that having a really strict schedule with kids doesn't work so well, and also having no schedule doesn't work very well. What I've kind of discovered is a balance really works well. A balance where you have some structure and yet flexibility, because we're dealing with people after all with ever-changing needs, and babies meet milestones, and kids are forever, developing and changing. So what works for me is to have gentle rhythms in place.
Well, my day currently starts around 5 a.m., and the first thing that I do is get dressed in my workout clothes and drink a glass of water. I find that if I drink 2 full glasses of water before my breakfast, I can usually pretty easily reach my water goal of about 80 ounces by the end of the day. And then I have a cup of warm coffee, often with cream and sometimes collagen, because I love something warm and cozy to hang on to. And then from 5:30 to 6, I hop on a Zoom call. I am a part of an awesome group of ladies, and some of these gals are exercising during this time, and others are doing personal development. I love to do my devotion during this time. I listen to a podcast called The Word of the Lord Endures Forever by Pastor Will Whedon, and that's just a daily 15-minute verse by verse Bible study with a commentary, and it's excellent. It fleshes out all kinds of details, it answers lingering questions that I have. And then I get into my prayer journal, and this just helps me stay engaged and it keeps my mind from wandering. And then I try to fit in maybe 10 minutes or so of just reading for pleasure at that time, too. Next, I head down to the basement, and our house is over 100 years old. My husband has completely remodeled it, but the basement isn't, it's just an old basement. But I love it because it works really well as a workout space, and it also is so great for rowdy boys and for woodworking projects. So I start moving pretty slowly when I get down here with a warm up. Today is a cardio day, and I always find cardio to be very cleansing, and I like the feel good endorphins that I get from it, but I have to get into it slowly. The program that I'm doing right now has a really nice cadence to it. After your cardio day, you have an upper body day, and then a lower body day, and then a day that focuses on core, and then metabolic conditioning, and then there's a restorative flow day. And I just love this variety and the fact that I can press play and I don't have to waste time, hemming and hawing and trying to decide what to do, because who has that kind of time? So I really enjoy this time. I feel like it's my little secret. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast while I'm down here, or I'll just listen to the trainer or my own music. And again, sometimes Annie will join me. Lately, that's my 15-year-old daughter, at track practice, but I love it when she's down here. I wanted to mention that when I'm pregnant and up until about 9 or 10 months postpartum, I do not get up at 5 in the morning. During these tender times, my rhythm looked more like rising at about 6:30, which gave me time to collect myself and maybe do a quick devotion before facing the kids. And then sometimes I would exercise after breakfast, sometimes and more often around 3:30 when school was done for the day. Um, I've just found that sleeping right up until when the kids do is a rough start for me. And so during these seasons, we all just do our best. And I'm not a good napper, but I usually found that I could catch up on rest by going to bed early. So if you're in that season right now, hang in there. It does get easier, especially when when that baby is sleeping through the night. We just love the sunrises here. We have got the best view of both the sunrise and the sunset. Just so blessed to see this most mornings. All of the kids ages 6 and above have a morning checklist that they do, and this just includes things like making your bed, brushing your teeth, getting dressed, hanging up your PJs, and then they all have one additional chore. So today is Charlie's laundry day, so that's what he was working on, and you saw Micah there putting away the silverware. And I just find that this helps us stay on track for the morning, but it is still just a really busy time. This hour from like 7 to 8, it just is what it is.
There are 4 reasons why gentle rhythms work really well for me. And the first one is it gives me a lot of peace of mind. So, for example, if it's time to do homeschool and I notice, unfolded laundry or the fact that the toilet needs to be cleaned, or I remember a bill needs to be paid, I can know that I actually have set aside time to do that later in the day or later in the week, wherever I've plugged it in. And so that helps so much. So I can actually focus on what I should be basically at that time, what's most important. So that brings me to number 2. It helps me prioritize the most important thing instead of focusing on whatever seems urgent at that time, because what is urgent isn't always the most important. And so right now, homeschooling my son is a high priority. If I weren't careful, that time could easily evaporate, because there are a lot of urgent things throughout the morning. But I'm able to kind of, remind myself, like, no, we'll get there. This is what we're doing now. This is good. This is important, and we'll get to those tasks later on. And the third reason that it's really helpful for me is that my kids know what to expect. Kids thrive on routine, especially younger children. And when we have a flow that we typically follow, I don't spend so much time negotiating with them. And it just helps our days go a lot smoother. And that doesn't mean that we don't capitalize. For example, yesterday we spur of the moment met a friend at a park and it was an awesome day. It was so good to do that. But in general, we have a flow to our days. And it just helps everybody kind of know what to expect next. The fourth reason gentle rhythms really help me is it eliminates a lot of decision fatigue. That is a real thing. I have found that the more things that I can have that just run on autopilot, that don't require me to stop and come up with some kind of a plan or a system, the better. And then that frees up brain space for more enjoyable things, maybe more time to read a good book, or to try that recipe, or to do some exercise, or just enjoy time with the kids.
So after the school kids have left, if I haven't already eaten, I make my breakfast. And on this particular morning, I did eat some of the granola as I was feeding everybody else, and I'm going to make what I call my superfood smoothie. So in this, I'm having some yogurt and some unsweetened vanilla almond milk, peanut butter for some healthy fat, some frozen spinach from the freezer. We are due for groceries, so we don't have a lot of berries on hand. But I'm also going to put a banana chunk in there and some ice, and then my favorite vanilla protein powder. And this just helps keep me really even keel and satiated for most of the morning. We do eat a later lunch, so I'll eat a snack with the kids, but this really helps me fuel up well for the day. After this, the younger kids and I do a couple of quick chores and then we get ready for the day. So the girls kind of just hang out and play. They're usually pretty happy during this time. And my baby still takes a morning and an afternoon nap. So once we tuck her in, we try to get right into our schoolwork so we can capitalize on the quiet time. And I'm not gonna lie, I am definitely lingering and holding this girl more tightly now that she's walking. It just makes her look so much less like a baby and more like a toddler. So I am trying to soak up this time, even though the morning is busy.
I always have fun.
Oh, go get her pink Twinkie, please. Go bring her Twinkie. This year we have a high school freshman, a fourth grader, a second grader, and a kindergartner that attend our Christian day school that's about 2 miles from our home. And our kindergartner has school Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so he is home with us on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This happens to be a Monday. And then I have the privilege of homeschooling my 12-year-old son. And while it is hard work, it is such a joy to learn alongside of him. He has catechesis 3 days a week at 9:30, so that is when we start our homeschool day. For the sake of simplicity, we start it at that time every day, and on the days he's home, he does some piano and typing during that early morning time. And once a week, we study Greek mythology, so that is what we're doing here today. And I love what my teacher's manual has to say about why study Greek mythology. Next to the Bible, Greek myths are the most important set of stories in our history. Greek myths are universal stories that describe human character types and the human situation in a wonderfully imaginative and entertaining way. And then once a week, we also study music. And so you just heard today's selection was The Sorcerer's Apprentice, and everybody loves listening to that. And we get to read about the composer and the history behind the piece, and it's always really enjoyable. We move around a lot throughout our school day. A favorite activity of ours is to toss out math facts with a beanbag. We've loved doing that for years, and we like to mix it up, challenging ourselves with that. But here we're doing some math at the table. And my daughter is pretty good. She likes to sit up with us and do her own schoolwork. Here she is doing some tracing and gluing and cutting. When my kindergartner is home, he is full of energy, and we definitely have a very firm structure in place on those days that we follow. And it usually includes, they join us for that bit of morning time, and then I set them up with a special activity like Play-Doh, and then they're required to go outside, or if it's not suitable, downstairs for a while, and then they get to watch a 20 to 30-minute show. And that works pretty well. That allows us to get, to still interact and include them, but get done what we need to. This was a beautiful day, and we ended up taking our literature outside. We're reading Charlotte's Web, and I love Garth Williams' illustrations of this book. They're so good. Every time you read it, I'm always just struck by them. So we do have a snack throughout the morning because our lunch is a little later so we can get through all of our schoolwork. And I know that when the baby, when she drops her morning nap, that will definitely change our rhythm, but this is working really well for us right now. Our afternoon starts at about 1:30 when I tuck in both of the girls for their naps. At that point, Charlie, he works off a checklist to do some independent work and then exercise. And then I use this time to check in and develop my wellness group, which is a super fun outlet for me. Hi. You come to Mama? Watch out there, Charlie.
Hello.
Hi. Yes.
What is this?
Thank you so much for joining us for this day in the life, which was more of a morning in the life. I hope to make one new video every week sharing health and wellness encouragement with everyday moms. please consider subscribing. Have a great day.